Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Sabrina Zohar Show. My name is Sabrina Zohar, and I am your host. Happy January, my babes. I can't believe we are well out of New Year's Eve, and honestly, I'm fucking stoked for it. I love it, don't get me wrong, yay, resolutions, but now let's actually implement all of these things that we say that we want to change and evolve and grow and all that. Wow. Today's episode is here for you specifically for that. I am so freaking excited. We have Mimi Bouchard here of the app Activations. And Activations have become my BFF. Don't forget, you guys get 2 free weeks of the app. So if you listen to this episode and you're like, oh my God, I need to have it, which trust me, you do, you guys can download it and everything will be in the show notes. But I'm so excited today. We're actually going to talk about how do you implement this shit into your life? How do you actually make changes, show up for yourself differently, and achieve the goals that you have for 2025? Because baby, it starts with the mental state. So guys, I'm so beyond excited. As always, don't forget, everything's linked in the show notes if you guys want to join one of the courses or join Activations or download a free guide. Anything you guys need is always going to be in the show notes, everything you possibly could. And please don't forget, rate and review the show. Again, as always, please speak with kindness when we're doing that. There are people, me, who read all of them, and I genuinely value your feedback and want to hear what you guys have to say. And if you guys have an issue, you can DM us or let us know privately. But just please share it with your friends. Let them know about the show. And if it helps, I'm so excited to hear. And if not, that's totally okay too. We respect wherever you guys are, and I'm just grateful that you guys are listening. So, without further ado, let's get right on into it, shall we? Well, hello, Miss Mimi. Welcome to the Sabrina Zohar Show. I am so fucking excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here as well.
Oh, okay. If you could, for anybody who doesn't know who you are, I love a self-introduction. Could you please share a little bit about yourself? I have a million questions I'm going to ask you, but I would love to learn just about who you are, what you do, and a little bit more about Activations.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Mimi. I live in the Bahamas most of the year, Canadian, live in London 4 months a year, kind of live a pretty interesting life. It's not boring. And over the past 8 years, I've transformed my life in a quite radical way. I've had a 180 in every area, from my relationships to my self-love and mindset and personal development to financially abundance-wise. It's been a really big transformation for me. Everything in my life has radically changed during the past decade or so. And over the past 3 years, I allowed myself to really start to share about that transformation and what has actually been the biggest thing to help me get there. And I ended up starting a business called Activations, and we'll talk about it later in the show, but it's been the tool that has helped me transform my life the most. And it's these new types of audios for every moment of the day. It's not meditation. It's kind of similar to a visualization meditation, but it's that plus a mix of a motivational podcast and cinematic music. And it's a new type of audio that I've created essentially. And for the past 5 years before I launched the product, I was using it myself, and it was the thing that really helped me radically transform. So with this business, I'm able to, do whatever, live wherever. And that's kind of been a big thing that has changed my life. And other than that, I have my fiance that I've been with for 7.5 years now. We're getting married in the summer. I have a puppy named Olive. I am very, very into health, wellness, personal development. I've just finished writing my first book called Activate Your Future Self. It's coming out in April with Hay House. And life is pretty good. I really feel like, I don't like to use the word manifestation a lot because we were talking about this off air. It can feel a bit woo-woo and, just a bit flaky, but I truly have manifested the life of my dreams over the past, 5-8 years. And it's been incredible. So I'm happy to sit down with you and share, with the audience what has helped me transform. And I'm really into the science of manifestation. Again, using that word because I don't really know what else to call it. The science of achieving your future self, achieving the person that you want to be. And there's so much that people don't know. There's so much that I had to learn to simplify the process of self-transformation. And I guess that's a bit about me. I don't know. I'm really bad at these elevator pitch things. I should probably get better because I'm doing a lot of podcasts these days. But yeah, I think that's a decent understanding.
I think you did a great job, personally.
Thanks.
And I can so relate because I think the word manifestation has gotten hijacked, right? It's been used of like, oh, just throw up a vision board and like that's all you need to do. And in the past, we did an episode of just debunking that, but I'm excited that we can add in new modalities here because similar to you, like I completely changed my life a couple of years. I mean, you're looking at it, right? Like all of this is new, these communities that we built. And I know for me, at least personally, it was less about I have to manifest and I have to do all of this, right? Because that can feel almost shaming, right? If, well, I'm not doing it right, as opposed to being open to surrendering to what's to come, knowing that I believe in myself, right? And being clear about where I want to go in life, but not attaching to the outcome of it has been game-changing for me. And I was curious because I want to hear about your relationship. Of course, I want to hear about your relationship. But I know a lot of the audience that we have really, and rightfully so, right? Like by no means am I judging anybody for having this, but has scarcity mindset, right? Of, you know, especially when you're single. Like I'm a woman in my 30s. I understand how it feels to be like, well, fuck, when's it going to happen? I don't understand. I've been trying so hard. I keep wishing for it and willing for it. But I was curious to hear, like, did you ever experience scarcity mindset and really not believing in yourself? And what about activations, right? Like, what about the modalities that you've created and put together? How did that really impact and help you move the needle?
Yeah, it's a great question. And of course, I was living in a serious victim mindset, scarcity mindset for most of my life. But I'm very lucky to have gotten into the world of personal development early because honestly, it saved me. I went through quite a dark time in my younger years, and I was partying a lot. I was doing coke every weekend. I was doing whatever drug I could honestly find. I was, had a bad eating disorder. I had a really bad, binge and purge kind of cycle, this terrible self-image. I felt very, depressed at that time of my life. And I think sometimes I glaze over it because I don't ever focus on that time of my life. But when I really look back, I realized it was really bad. Like I've just made it sound better every time I talk about it, but it was bad. I was in a very, very low place. I felt like I was never going to find someone that loved me because I couldn't love myself. I felt deeply, deeply self-conscious. I hated myself, actually. And I would numb in every way, shape, or form, whether that was with alcohol, with drugs, with binging, with overeating, with being on technology too much. I really didn't like the life I was living. I was also very stressed about money all the time at one point.
Feel that.
Yeah, when I was starting my journey, I had like $8 in my bank account and I was trying to make ends meet, working like 4 or 5 different jobs. I had moved to London at that time in my early 20s, and I just was very lost. And I was in this mindset of, okay, I know I can change, but why isn't it happening fast enough? And before then, I was fully in a victim mentality, but reading these books, reading, a lot of personal development work, going to these seminars, listening to these seminars on YouTube, like I was really obsessed with like the cringy personal development back in the day because 8-9 years ago, like that, it wasn't cool yet. So it was like,
it's all we had.
It's all we had. So I really dived into that and I learned these principles that got me out of that victim mentality. And the principles that I learned were you are 100% responsible for your life, which is one of the principles that changed my life the most because every time I would get into this blame game, I would really think about it and realize that this is what I was doing to myself. I can change my response, and the response is 50% of the outcome. And I also was looking around and I had realized that I'm the average of the 5 people I surround myself with most. Like my circle is the average of who I become. And I was looking around me at this time and there were all these people that were unhappy, unhealthy, and they weren't earning a lot of money. They weren't fulfilled. They weren't, the people that I wanted to be an average of. And so a lot of this work that I was doing back then was really setting this foundation for me. But the first 5 years of my transformation happened quite slowly. I call it the bounce back rate. So this is one of the things that I talk about. And essentially the premise of it is that to find success in your life, to achieve the life that you desire, you don't need perfection. You just need a quick bounce back rate. And my bounce back rate was quite long at the time. I would fall off track and then I'd like wait till Monday or wait till the first of the month. And I would just be that old self version of me for too long. And now fast forward to where I am today, my bounce back rate, I'm still not perfect and I've never had one perfect day, but my bounce back rate is actually in the seconds most of the time. I see a negative thought pattern. I see me, going down this old mentality or feeling like the old self, and then I snap out of it. So to get to what I was saying, over the time, I was taking in all this information. I was addicted to personal development, but I also realized that it was also confusing. Everyone was saying different things. Everyone was telling you to do 100 different things under the sun. And I was trying to absorb it all because I wanted change so badly, but it was complicated. It was confusing. Because I was confused, my growth was happening a little bit too slowly for my own liking. So over the years, I realized that it's simple. Transforming your life and becoming the future self version of you that you want to be is actually very simple, and it comes down to 2 steps. First, you need to get crystal clear on who you want to be, this ideal future self version of you. And step number 2, you need to become them. That's it. That's all it is. You can, think that doing a vision board is going to help you. And we were talking about this off air. I haven't done a vision board in years. And my life, especially over the past 3 to 5 years, has absolutely transformed. I can't even tell you, I'm unrecognizable. And no vision board did that to me. It's not about vision boarding. Yes, vision boards could be a fun activity to do, and it could, be something that you do instead of watching TV on a Sunday afternoon. Sure, it's a positive thing, but it's not actually going to move the needle. What will move the needle is you feeling like your future self, is you readjusting and realigning your self-image to be your future self. And we can get more in depth about this, but the biggest thing I've realized, Sabrina, is that your self-image literally creates your life, because your self-image directly influences your feelings every day, your emotions every day, your personality, your perspectives, your thoughts, your beliefs. Your self-image is the core of the onion. If you visualize an onion and all the other layers on top, the other layers are your habits, your routines, your, daily workouts, whatever it is, everything that you're doing in your day. None of those things will change for a long period of time unless you change the core first, the self-image. If you don't identify as someone who eats healthy and takes care of her body, then guess what? Going and ordering the salad the next day when you're out for dinner and trying to shame yourself to eating healthier because you binged the day before is never actually going to be a long-term solution, because you don't have the self-image of the person that's healthy. So just like if you don't have the self-image of someone who's a runner, it's going to be really hard for you to stay consistent running in the morning. But if you have the self-image of someone who's a runner, guess what's going to happen? You're going to feel weird when you don't go on a run. So anyway, there's a lot there, but that's my 2-step simple formula is clarity and becoming. And that's all you need to know. That's everything else will fall into place once your self-image has changed.
I feel so seen. Let me just say that because as you were talking, I resonate with your story so fucking hard because it was very similar, like numbing out with substance. For me, I used my body to connect with any man that would give me the time of day, right? Like it just had such low self-esteem that I really believed this is all I had to offer, right? You don't need to hear me speak. My brain, that's stupid, right? I'm too much. I'm all of these things, that core belief. And the one thing that was really hitting me as you were talking was when you visualize the version of you that you want to be, and then you become that. And what that one piece, it's so interesting as you were talking about it, even me, right? Lord knows I have done so much fucking personal work on myself. It's like, you can literally write the book on it and trying that now. But the one thing that stuck out was in between, like you said, to your point of who do you want to be? And then the action of how you do that is the belief. To your point of the middle of the onion being, what do you genuinely believe about yourself, right? Because as you were talking, I was going, okay, literally in my head, I was like, Sabrina, who do you want to be, right? And I've been doing this with my partner, and it's even something of like, I'm trying to, quote unquote, manifest like more speaking gigs, and I really want to do panels, and I want to be out there more, right? Like I want to do different stuff. And I finally got that opportunity the other night. And when they told me how much they were going to pay me, my heart sank. And I remember just being like, I literally had to stop and go, no, but I'm not worth that, right? That was my first thought. And I stopped myself and I said, bitch, the fuck you're not, right? I was like, yes, you are worth that. This is how much you deserve to make, my girl. And we are only going to demand this moving forward. But that belief was so hard for me, just even in this second, because there's a little girl in me going, no. There's no way that anybody's ever going to believe you're worth that much. And I'd be curious to hear, how do you normally combat those voices? Because I'm sure they still come up, right?
Yes.
You're a human. But I would be curious, even if, and I love, because what I love about activation so much is that you have walking aspects and different modalities. I love bilateral movement. Walking is how I process, even just sometimes going around a lap in my kitchen. But I would be so curious to hear kind of the neuroscience and the psychology behind how we can really cut through those negative thoughts and start to actually interject a little bit more of a wait, no, but maybe I can do this. And maybe I am worthy of this. Because I think for anybody listening, they want love, right? You want the relationship, you want that. And then you're like, okay, well, so I have to set boundaries, I have to do all of these things. And it's but that disconnect of what do I believe?
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you something crazy coming from someone who has had a 180 in all of her beliefs. It's not that hard. I know it sounds very complicated when you just put it in that way of how do you do it? And it does seem like such a big feat. But the first step, honestly, don't tell yourself it's hard, because what you tell yourself to be true is the truth.
Right.
What you think about the world and how the world works and how things should be hard, that will end up being your truth. So what you need to do is subconsciously reprogram your mind. And that's not hard to do. It is so easy to do, actually. It is so simple.
Talk to me, baby. What are we doing here?
Okay, so the method that I've developed with activations is, think about the Pavlov dog theory. You've heard of this, right? When Pavlov rings the bell, the dog salivates. That's classical conditioning. We work that way as well. And not just with food and salivating. Well, we definitely work with that as well.
Put a chocolate cake in front of me and it's happening.
But also with our beliefs. So the beautiful thing about activations, it's unlike meditation where you calm your mind and you close your eyes and you think about nothing, which definitely has its place, which we all would definitely benefit from. I don't meditate, though. I probably should a little bit, but it's a different outcome, meditation. It's great for calming your stress levels and for being present. But activations are for a goal-seeking person who want to feel significantly different after listening. None of our activations are sitting and thinking about nothing. They're action-focused, subconscious reprogramming, subliminal reprogramming in your mind. It literally changes how you think by presenting this information in a certain way with a certain frequency, with certain music. And the beautiful thing is that you can listen to these in everyday moments. They're designed to be listened to in everyday moments. We have a walking category, a grocery shopping category, a cooking, cleaning. We even have seated ones if you want more of that type of experience. But we literally have 17 categories, I think, of activations. So when you're working out, when you're sleeping, when whatever it is that you're doing, the beautiful thing about them is that you can habit stack them and listen to them in everyday moments. And just like the Pavlov dog theory, when you are pairing new thoughts and beliefs to everyday actions, soon enough, you won't even need that walking activation to feel empowered and abundant and unlimited when you're walking to work. If you've listened to it the past few weeks, every morning walking to work, you literally are going to be feeling that way without it at some point. And that's the goal. So when you are listening to something that changes your state, like an activation, and we all kind of get that feeling if we're listening to, the bridge in our favorite song, the cinematic moment in a movie. Music tells you how to feel. Think about it. If movies didn't have any music, you wouldn't know how to feel in certain moments. So music and the cinematic, emotive type of music that we use in activations, that we specifically use from people that create, and artists that create music for movies. This is cinematic music that we specifically use for the activations to tell you how to feel in certain moments. It's all very inspiring. That moment in a movie when the lead character finally gets what they want? That's the entire freaking playlist in activations.
Get the buildup of the music.
Exactly. And you're transforming and you're moving and you're becoming. It's this very active type of experience. And you're feeling this new energy very deeply with these certain words or affirmations or whatever it is to help reprogram that subconscious mind. and that self-image. So when you're listening to that, the music mixed with the frequencies layered in, mixed with these words that really help you change your state, that remind you of who you want to be, and you're listening to this type of audio in everyday moments, it's just a matter of time. You're
powerful.
going to get there. It's literally just a matter of time. And you don't need to go buy my app to try these activations. You can do what I did when I was first developing the product. And I'm just saying that because honestly, like, I don't want people to think I'm coming on here just to sell the product. Like, I genuinely feel so passionately about this work and how it has been the shortcut to my transformation. People can try to create their own, and they can also take advantage of the free trial, like the 2 weeks free that we have and a money back guarantee. Like, we make it very low barrier to entry, and like, a refund policy is very, very open because we just want people to experience it. So that aside, I'll tell you a bit more behind how I created this. So years ago when I was in my personal development journey, all the experts were like, okay, you need to visualize. And I was reading all the neuroscience behind visualization and how important it is to help you rewire your mind and see new potential and reprogram the RAS, the reticular activating system in your brain that is essentially a filtration system that decides what you notice and what you don't notice in your life. So for example, if you think that you're a victim, you're only going to see reasons why you are a victim. But if you think that you are a lucky person that attracts opportunity, you're also going to see that. So that's how the RAS works. On a more simple example, everyone's heard that like red car example. If you want to buy a red car, you see it everywhere. That's the same thing, but it works with every type of belief, whether it's big or small. So I was learning about these, the science behind visualization and how it really, really is like the science of quote manifestation and helps you transform yourself first and then everything else in your life. And then people said, okay, so to do that, you need to either journal or meditate. And I was journaling and I love journaling, but it was also just, something that was like a bit more slow. I wanted something active. I wanted this excitement feeling, and I would try to meditate, and none of it gave me this like excitement towards life. It was very calming, calm your brain, like relax. And I didn't want that at that time of my life. When I was in this moment of transformation, I wanted to move. I wanted to go. I wanted to transform. I wanted to that feeling of the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. That was the energy of my life when I wanted to really radically change every aspect. So I naturally just decided very intuitively to pick up my phone, open up the voice memos app on my iPhone, and just record an audio note of what I wanted my life to be like. And I would speak it in the present moment, and I would really describe how it feels. I would remind myself, of all the things that I had and how it would happen. And I would be very specific about it. And I'd listen to these. I'd get bored of them really quickly. So I have created like hundreds of them personally at this point, because you get bored of them really quickly. You want new. And then I started recording them professionally on a professional microphone because I had a podcast back then. And then I would add these layers of inspirational music, and because I knew the power of cinematic music. And then, it just snowballed, and it became this thing that I listened to every day in my life. Sabrina changed so quickly when I started listening to these consistently. It was like the unlock for me after all these years of binging on all of the personal development content I could find and not really having clarity. This was the one thing that gave me clarity. I didn't have to do anything else in my routine. And then years later, I just decided to make a few public to see what people thought, and they blew up. And over the past 3 years, my app has grown to tens and tens of thousands of users that use it every single day. And it's been pretty much all organic as well. So it's been word of mouth, which is, it shows that people really wanted this. So
powerful as fuck. And you know what? I'm going to share a fun story with you.
Okay.
And to prove exactly what you're talking about right now. Even before we came this morning, we got an email. It's one of those things that it was an email with just an attitude from somebody that we were like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was so dysregulated instantly. And I'm so grateful for my partner because I was able to be like, okay, I'm really struggling, right? And when that happens, you can't really process it in the moment because you're like, what's happening in my body? I'm trying to just even understand myself. And to your point, I love meditation because what it taught me was to put space between my reaction and my response, right? It has a place, to your point. But in this moment, that's not what I needed. I didn't need to just sit because I'm dysregulated. I don't just need to sit and pretend like everything's okay. Just clear your mind. It's like, girl, I can't. I can't clear my mind right now. And I just kept going, and what I started to notice was I was starting to get really emotional. Then I wanted to cry. The whole car ride, I was just in my head. And the reason I share this is to your point of I gave those thoughts a lot more control than they deserved to have, right? It's just another email that annoyed me today. But really I literally walked around. And I called my mom like earlier this morning, and I kept saying, I feel like I'm dealing with my dad. And she was like, okay, so there's something here, right? Like we're not seeing this clearly. And I actually listened to one of the activations. And I was like, you know what? It was one of the walking ones. And I was like, it was 9 minutes. And I was like, I need to just feel something different than what I'm feeling right now. And it instantly, all of a sudden, I was like, you got this? You are going to do it. And then even my partner looked at me and he goes, babe, can I reframe this for you? I get it. You're scared. And he goes, I understand that. He goes, but let me tell you, you stood up for yourself. You didn't let someone walk all over you. And if you lose this person, that's okay because you got yourself. And I was in a place to receive at that point. And what it really reminded me of, and I know anybody listening right now is going to be like, yup, is that same anxiety that we get when like you're dating, right? And why haven't they texted me? What's going on? Is everything okay, right? All of that. And this dysregulation I had but brought me right back into that stage of, and the reason I also share this is to show that this can manifest in different parts of your life, right? This isn't just relationships. It's not just career. It's not just family. It's a comprehensive 360 of how this shit shows up. But really the reason I wanted to share this is because, to your point, even now where we're talking, I feel so much better. I feel better. I feel more motivated. I just feel like I can release that. I don't need to hold on to that. And I remember in my dating world, I wish I had this. I wish that when I got disappointed, right? I'm speaking in heterosexual norms as a woman who dated men, but for whoever you're dating, the they, the he, the she, whatever, when that doesn't work out, right? And we feel like, okay, well, I don't know what to do, right? I'm going to crawl out of my skin. I love that there are activations. I love that we can look and go, okay, I need to move. Great, let me go on a walk and let me put something that will allow me to tap into a different place. Because I'm very similar. I love music. If I'm feeling something, I have certain playlists of like, here's your sad playlist, here's your happy playlist, here's your especially songs. What's really important for me and what I love about activations is the fact that certain songs, and what we forget is that they hold memories to them, right? So I can listen to certain songs and feel something from childhood going, oh, I used to listen to this when I was really sad, even though it's kind of making me feel comfortable right now, but it's not really helping. And so I love that Activations offers music, it offers audio, it offers so many different aspects, vocal, like speaking, right? To be able to tap into that. Because if anybody's listening right now, if you think that just, I'll go for a walk and everything will be okay, it's like, cool, you can regulate your nervous system, you can come back into the present moment, you can understand you have a choice. But now what I love about Activations is we get to add in a new thought process, because I think a lot of the people listening really struggle with that, and rightfully so, right? So I was curious too, like to understand a little bit more of the neuroscience. Repetition, I would imagine, is very important. And is this aspect something that like we need to build into our routine? How does that impact if you don't listen every day versus if you do? I'm curious your personal experience as well, just when you were doing it, how we see that impact and change.
So you'll notice when you start listening to them that you get kind of addicted to them. Like it's different to meditation. When I used to try to meditate, I'd put it on my to-do list every morning. Okay, do your 10-minute meditation. And a lot of the time I would just never tick that off the list because it was just something on the list. But you don't do that with your morning coffee. You don't put on the to-do list, have morning coffee. You love your morning coffee. I feel like the same kind of thing happens with Activations, and just like your favorite podcast that you listen to when they release a new episode, or, yeah, exactly. The Sabrina Zohar show. You just immediately want to go press it. It's not on your to-do list to go listen to. Activations are just another type of audio. You listen to your podcasts, you listen to your audiobooks, you listen to your music, and you listen to your activations when you're in that zone as well. So I don't find that it's very difficult to use the app. And I also have found that speaking to our users, they also don't feel that way. We have a crazy high percentage of our users on the app being daily active users. And people just naturally want to use it. But I will say, obviously, the more you use it, the better you'll feel. But it's one of those things that even my own usage of the app, like I'll listen to it when I'm feeling like I need it. And sometimes I don't listen every single day. Sometimes I'll listen when I'm in the car going to a meeting when I need to feel more confident. Sometimes I'll listen I actually love listening in the morning. We have a lot of morning ones that just really set the tone for the day. And I'm a big morning, set my energy right type of girl. I don't have this like vigorous morning routine. It's just all about setting my energy right. It's about how I feel, because how I feel will then change my whole day. And I'm a firm believer that your mornings create your days create your weeks create your months create your years, and your years create your life. So everything really starts in the morning. So I love listening to the morning ones. We have like so many categories on the app, which is great to help guide people. But I actually listen to random ones. Like I don't really, I listened to a walking one while I was getting ready this morning. We have a getting ready category, but I just felt like listening to a specific walking one. So I just kind of use them like that. Some people might not, but that's how I use the app. And it's just when I need an energy and a vibration shift.
Yeah. Which helps a lot when you're in that scarcity mindset of like, I'm never going to meet anybody. I'm never going to find my person. How is anybody going to like me? It's like sometimes you just need a little something to be like, shift that fucking mindset, baby.
And you keep talking about the scarcity mindset. And the interesting thing is that the more that you listen to stuff like activations, the more that you will get clarity on who you want to be and journal and really just write, because I think writing is also very powerful. We have guided writing activations on the app as well. That's a side note. We have literally everything. We have over 700 pieces of audio on there. It's nuts. So journaling is a massive tool for me, but then also this audio is a massive, massive tool for me. The more you do it, the better you feel. So back in the day when I was in my scarcity mindset, I started to have little like blinks of abundance mindsets. And then it would go back. My bounce back rate was very long at that time. I'd go back. I'd be in this scarcity mindset, this victim mode, this oh, poor me mode. The more I did the work, then the switch flipped and I was in abundance mode most of the time. And then I'd go back to this old victim scarcity mode sometimes and then have to switch back. So it's just the more you do it, the better you feel. And the more you are receptive and open up to the information, the better you feel. And I definitely am more science-based than I am spiritual, but I do have a foot into more of the spiritual side as well. And since writing my book, I did a lot of research on quantum physics theories, and it is, I guess, a bit more sciencey, but a lot of people in the spiritual realm will talk about things from quantum physics as a fact. And I do see potential with some of these theories. But going back to the point, I guess, talking about there is a theory in quantum physics, and it essentially states that there could be unlimited different dimensions or parallel universes or lifelines, I like to call them, or realities at every given moment in any given time in the world. And essentially when you change your energy and how you feel and your energetic set point, and there is science to prove that we have a biofield. Everyone has a biofield around us. Our energy field is actually called a biofield, and that's measurable. This quantum physics theory states that when you change your energy and in your biofield, you actually can connect with a new lifeline, a new dimension that already exists in any given moment. Can you imagine that? If in every given moment we had a different reality that we could select? Like, which reality of yours would you select? Because you have unlimited ones. There's a reality where you are making $10 million a month and you're in the best relationship of your life and you are just thriving and you have it all. And I actually can stir up some drama sometimes when I say that I actually believe you can have it all.
I'm 100% with you.
I really do. And even when bad things happen to you, that doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to you when you have it all. Like, I deeply believe in this moment, in this phase of my life, that I have it all. But that doesn't mean that I didn't, have a hormonal breakout this morning because I'm high cortisol, late luteal phase traveling. Like, that's okay. I still feel like I have perfection doesn't exist, but I don't think having it all means perfection.
I'm curious too, like with your relationship, because I know we were off. You were like, I'll share it with you.
Oh yeah, I have a story about that.
I'd love to hear, because I think, again, for everyone listening, like, and I understand this again, and we never shame and blame anyone listening right now, but a scarcity mindset, especially like when you were in the dating field, like I had that myself, and I had it up until when I shifted things and started to realize, like, no, I am a catch and I am a prize, and you're also. It's not that I'm lucky to have you. We're both equally would be. And that's what changed it, because by having, especially for me, if I walked into something feeling shitty about myself, feeling really down on myself. How do you think I'm going to perform, right? How am I going to show up? How am I going to connect? I'm probably not because I'm in my own way. Versus I enter in and going, okay, well, if this works, cool. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If you like me, yay. And if you don't, I don't really give a fuck. And I know it takes a lot for us to get there, but that's a goal. But I am curious to hear your experiences with your partner, how you really, truly brought in the person for you, because everyone on this podcast ad nauseum has heard how I brought my partner in. But I would love a different perspective and outlook on how your dating life was before you made these shifts.
Oh my goodness. So much to say there. So my story, I attracted my partner, Ben, into my life. And
what's up, Ben?
Yeah. Hey, Ben. We've been together he's actually my first boyfriend. We met when I was 21. We've been together for 7.5 years. Before then, just like you, I was definitely, around and very low self-confidence and partying a lot. And I was just not at all the version of myself that I wanted to be. Luckily, I found Ben, and even though I wasn't my perfect ultimate future self then, we had this connection, and he and I have grown together in such a beautiful way. But I have this crazy story of how I attracted him into my life. And by the way, I wasn't ready yet. I told my sister, she just got out of a 4-year relationship with this guy who was terrible and cheated on her. And she's in her early 30s as well. And she kept telling me the other day, she was like, Mimi, I just need to lose 20 pounds and get really fit and make some money. And then I'm going to date. I need to be my best self first.
When this, then this.
Yeah, I'll be happy when, or I'll do that when. And I was like, girl, you don't even realize this, but you don't need to. You can be evolving and changing and find someone on that same wavelength of evolvement and evolving and changing and being their best self as well. You don't need to be there before finding the person. God knows I was at my absolute worst when I met him. So that's one thing I will say, don't limit yourself. If I told myself that I wouldn't go on any date until I changed, I would probably still be single. So, and perfection, again, doesn't exist. So you're always going to want to continue improving yourself. If you're just on this path of wanting to improve yourself and you find someone who's also interested in that, then you are honestly exactly perfectly situated to find your person. So that aside, I'm now going to share this fun manifestation, I'll use that word again with quotes, story of how I met Ben. So this is kind of the beginning of when I started listening to my activations, okay? And I would record these audio memos to myself. And I still have an audio memo that I recorded it, I think it was October 12th, 2017. I recorded it and I still have it on my phone. Thank you, iCloud. And it perfectly described Ben. I hadn't met him yet. It perfectly described Ben. He is 6'4". Again, I was a bit more materialistic back then, and whatever.
I got
fine.
a 6'5". I'm with you. Okay, I take no shame to this.
6'4", dark and handsome. And I really described how he treats me. He loves me so much. He gives me movie moments every day, and our love is so pure. And he loves me no matter what, and he'll love me while I'm improving my life and when I get there. And I just described our future. I described a home that we would have in London one day. I just described us and his personality. I said, he's charming, but then yet he's sensitive. And I just described him. And the following day I met him. On October 13th. It was a Friday, October the 13th, 2017, I met him. And I just still remember the moment he was walking towards me. I remember it because I knew in this weird way, I knew in that moment, I didn't know I'd end up marrying him, but I knew, remember this. Yeah. I can still put myself in the situation where I was sitting and he was walking. And it was just because I already was plugging it into my mind that this is the type of man I wanted to be with. And I just felt this energy about him. And that was really the energy of the person I was describing the day before. And of course, that's not to say that we've had so many ups and downs. We've been together almost a decade. That's a very long time. And we've had to grow a lot together. But I'm grateful to say that it's been the biggest blessing in my life, honestly, beyond all the money I've made, beyond my physical transformation, beyond anything. he really is like my favorite manifestation to date.
I love that so much. And I can so fucking relate. I remember when I was 19, I wrote on the list like verbatim, like even to this guy's name, and he was my first like partner ever.
Yeah.
And as he walked up and literally came up to me that night, my friend looked at me and goes, "That was on your list." And I like freaked out because I was like 6'4", blue eyes, name was Brandon, like everything. I was
Finance.
like, exactly. But like even to your point, like when I, quote unquote manifest, Ryan, like we're putting those in quotations. What I got really clear on was I want to feel seen, heard, and understood. I want someone that's safe. I want someone that does acts of service and will make me food when I forget. And it's like, and I have a chef now that like creates all these meals. I kept saying I want someone I can work with, someone collaborative, someone who is my picture frame and I'm the picture. And the reason I love getting clear, and again, outside of the physical, right? Like I don't want anyone to get caught up. Like you can have your height, right? You could do that. But we don't want to like blue eyes, brown hair, has to be this. Because it's like, don't cut out amazing people because they're not brunettes. But more so, like you said, how I want to feel with this person. And then because the reason that that's so powerful is because then what we can look at is what part of me doesn't feel I deserve that, right? So when I sit and feel, like when I was feeling about what I wanted with Ryan, it felt like, yes, I deserve this, right? I'm not. Versus when I was saying just now, manifesting, I'm going to make this much money doing this, there's a discomfort. And I don't look at that as like, oh, well, you can't do it then. It's like, no, I want to explore that. Where is that discomfort coming from? Who is she, right? What's coming up for me? And that's what I love about this work is that we can utilize these activations as well. And you can utilize just how we view things to be able to also challenge what's coming up for us if we don't believe between the, this is who I want to be and this is the action, the middle of the onion. I love that we can really target that to go, how do I change that?
Absolutely. And I really want to touch on how you just said feeling, because that's actually been one of the biggest unlocks for me in this work. And I've realized that manifestation quote, like the way to change your self-image, to change your life, to change your energy, because when you change your energy, you change everything in your life, including your self-image. It's all so intermingled. It's all coming down to how you feel, the energy that you are giving off. So whether that's in dating, people can smell if you are in this desperate mode and you just want to lock someone down and you're feeling insecure. They can feel that. But just like you're achieving of your dream career, if you don't have the energy of abundance and opportunity inside of you, it's not happening.
100%. And the fear, it feels real. But that's the thing. It feels real, but it isn't real. How many times I've even been like, no, Sabrina, I don't know, that seems a lot. And then I'll literally have to look at my bank account and go, bitch, you didn't look at the reality here. You're stuck in your fear. You're stuck in that narrative, especially in dating, right? I know so many of the questions that we got, which we'll get to in a minute, were very but this is how it's always been, right? And I'll get that where I'll say, well, what are the facts to back this up? And they'll well, that's how it's always been. And it's like, okay, but just because it's always been.
That person just simply needs to understand that your beliefs create your life. So sure, if you're going to tell me right now, oh, I can't do this because it's how it's always been. Okay, you're right.
Yep, it'll continue to be like that.
That is exactly what you're creating. You're right. But if you tell me that you are the type of person that ... that is your self-image. I am the type of person that has a business that makes millions a month. I am the type of person that has a beautiful relationship that is so fulfilling with great communication, with movie moment romance every single day at 7.5 years plus in. I am the type of person that is who you will become in a matter of time. If that becomes your core self-image, your core energy, the frequency that you are giving out, and the just energy of your persona, that is everything. If someone listening right now is absorbing the information from this podcast, all I want them to leave with, if it's one thing, is this: your energy, your vibration, who you are at the core, the feeling inside and around you, that creates your life. That's all you need to know. And it's not hard to change. This is the thing that I just feel so passionately about, because it's you don't need to be perfect to do it. I've never once had one perfect day and I've transformed everything. It's so easy.
That's why
just change how you feel.
that's why I was excited about this conversation, is because I know that, and this isn't about like everybody download the app. It's like, yeah, no, go get the fucking app. You have 2 free weeks, try it. Like we want you to use the app. And the reason that we say that is because it is an actual modality. It's something to say, here's a tangible tool, right? Here's something that you want to get from here to here. I have something for you. But at the end of the day, wherever you're at, even just hearing that someone can change their life, right? You're not beholden to the circumstances, and you're not just, oh, these are the cards I was dealt. And it's like, sure, I was dealt these, but I can turn these into goddamn gold.
Doesn't mean, it's the ease is not the same for everyone. But the reality is that there is someone that was worse off than you that got there.
100%. So, Mimi, I keep on going back and forth mentally. I feel like I'm at war. What can I do to stabilize?
Unnumb yourself. I can assure you that this person is either scrolling on social media too long every day, eating crappy foods, binge watching TV shows at night, and not actually spending any time alone. I can tell you right now that this person is numbing too much. They are doing too many activities that numb them and not enough activities that make them feel alive. The opposite of numb is alive. So numbing activities include mindless scrolling, watching too much TV, being on technology. Too much technology is this very numbing thing that we're all around all the time. There may be eating too much, eating unhealthy, not exercising enough, sleeping too much, partying, maybe drinking alcohol, whatever it is, numbing activities, being distracted all the time. But feeling alive, this other category of things that you can do in your life, that is things like working out, waking up early, not being on your phone, spending time being bored, journaling, listening to activations, just putting yourself in a state of aliveness and feeling present and abundant and like your ultimate self in these little moments, and helping yourself do that by doing those things like working out, journaling, activating. So what I'll say to this person is, just stop numbing and focus on things that make you feel more alive, and the answer will come.
Yeah.
Write, journal, just put pen to paper and figure out what you're missing. Get clear on your future self-vision, and then write down who they are, what their personality is, then become them.
I love that. And that's like, somebody had asked another question, how do you not allow yourself to get stuck in the day-to-day hamster wheel of life? And I think unless I was going to say, if you want to add anything there, because I would be curious.
I have more of an actionable, one of the actionable tools. If you have clarity and you know how to become the version of you, your future self, the version of you that you want to be, then you really need to work on your bounce back rate. Yeah. You really, really need to get honest with yourself when it comes to how quickly you get back on the bandwagon after falling back off track. And yes, the quote hamster wheel of life, wake up, go to work, but you don't need to do a lot of these things. Yes, you need to go to work, but you can come home and you don't need to watch TV all night or go out. You can spend a lot of time on your personal development, on getting very clear on what you want to do. If you don't like your job and it feels like a hamster wheel, you can change your job. You can create something. You can move. You can do anything. We're so fluid. Everyone thinks we're so stuck all the time. The reality is you could move across the world next week and change your life. Yeah. Life's not that serious. You can change radically.
Yeah. And even like my friend, Britt Frank, she's a neuropsychotherapist, and she always just like, Micro, yes, just do something. Like one. Get a pen, right? If you're never journaling, okay, well, I don't need you to now write a dissertation. It's like, buy the pen and buy the notebook. Make it something like, that was huge for me. That's when I shifted, because I was on the hamster wheel of life when I lived in New York. Every day was like, wake up, go to the job I fucking hated, try to get out of work before it's dark, before it's 7 o'clock at night, and you go home and you're like, I just want to cry. Like everything just felt humdrum. And when I took control of my life is when it changed, because then I started saying, no, I'm going to wake up an hour earlier because I want to move my body. I never worked out except for like high school, right? So this was 8 years later when I started to do that. I could barely touch my toes. I couldn't even keep up my breath, but I went every day. I said, this is a commitment I'm making to myself because I want to feel different. I want to feel something. So then I was going to classes after work. I was really motivating myself to be like, no. Instead of going home and sitting on TV, you have the dog walker, go to a yoga class. By doing that, I then started to interject myself into a different world. I met somebody who was into fitness. Then I started my clothing line. All of a sudden, now don't get me wrong, I still ate shit quite along the way, and it was maybe not for the highest good in the moment. But point being was that small change, showing up differently in the days of just making a different choice of, instead of sitting on my couch all day scrolling, I'm going to go for a walk this morning. It started to lead me to different roads, right? Oh, I'm going to do this, which means I can meet someone here and I could do this. And I love that something so small, even like an activation in the morning, could literally change how you interact with someone at a coffee shop that could then lead to a different result.
I feel like when you do an activation, you enter a new lifeline. mind. Like I was speaking about before, a little bit more esoteric, but you enter a new reality. When you listen to an activation, it's this process of genuinely changing so much that you've entered a new version of yourself. And if you do that at the beginning of the day, even listen to a 2-minute pep talk on the app while you're brushing your teeth in the morning, just something that will just change your routine. Habit stack it. It's not hard. You don't have to carve out time in your day to do it. Habit stack it. And you'll notice over time that like that one small thing actually had such a domino effect. You don't have to even go that big and crazy and quit your job and be radical. Like it's a small thing that really influences your life in the morning if you do that.
Interesting. There's 2 questions here that I'm reading. And to me, they seem like very similar. So I'm going to read them both to you because I have, of course, in my head, I'm like, I know where I would go here, but I'd love your thoughts.
Yeah.
So someone said, how to get out of dating scarcity while living in a rural area where options are limited and scarce. There are less than 2K people in my town. And then someone had also asked how to shift to abundance when it seems like guys have more options online.
Do guys have more options online?
Statistically, no. It's actually 30% women, 70% men on online dating apps.
So why is that a belief that you have?
Thank you.
Like, first of all.
Thank you.
Second of all, when you're living in a very small town, like I just personally, if I was in that position, I would just, and I really wanted to find someone, I would put myself out there as much as possible in a very classy way. Just go out, meet people, go do new things, go to a new gym, just be a social being and just go out and meet people. And if you can't find your person there, then be open to other opportunities. Go travel.
Exactly.
Go live your life, your best possible life. And if you see a cute guy at the cafe, you could also go up and talk to him. Like a lot of the time, women just don't ever want to make the first move. And I think that it's, if you're really, wanting to meet someone, you can be a little ballsy. Men, a lot of the time, want that. They love that.
And to your point, because what people forget is like it takes one, right? So you exist in this small town.
One.
So, and because you exist in the small town, you need somebody who maybe moves in. Because that happened to my girlfriend. We during COVID, everybody of course fucked off in New York except me, and I stayed. And she moved literally podunk nowhere upstate New York. It was like a bunch of the friends, they all got a house, everybody moved in together. And sure enough, she matched with one guy, they ended up getting married and having a baby.
Wow.
In the middle of nowhere. And he was saying, I just never thought, I just hadn't met anybody and I've been living here for a while. But he was like, I just always knew that maybe somebody would move in. And it took just her being there, right? I met my partner traveling when I was in San Diego going, I'm not having the results I want in LA. Let me go elsewhere. I'm thinking of moving there. Matched him the first day.
But your energy was also probably not too desperate, not too needy. Your energy was magnetic probably. Her energy was probably more magnetic. Yeah. And that's why it's so important to get your energy in check before you go out and do things, before you go on a first date. We actually have an activation on the app called Before a First Date or something like that. We literally have them for everything. It's all about your energy, how you are showing up, the feeling that you have within yourself and the feeling that you give other people. And when you are magnetic, whatever man in the room is going to look at you. It's actually crazy that you become a magnet when you are doing this work, when you are really focused on feeling a certain way. It exudes. And we all know it. If you're in a room and someone walks in, you immediately feel, we're animals. We sense things. We need to stop being so logical sometimes. It's that feeling and that you're naturally just a magnet to what you're exuding. That's the law. That's how things work.
Oh, and you had said something earlier that was so beautifully said because it resonated with me of when you're the sum of all your parts, right? My grandmother used to say, show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. And I remember this was a couple of years ago. This is when I was really making changes. I cut friendships that just weren't serving me anymore.
Oh, ditto, yeah.
And it, of course, in the moment, you're like, I've been friends with this person for 8-10 years.
I'd rather be alone. I love being alone. You need to be alone to do this work. You need to get very comfortable being alone. That's a huge part of personal development.
100%. Yeah. And starting to weigh the options of, I don't feel great when I talk to this person. I don't feel good having them in my life. They don't add anything to me. They're just taking away. And when I got really used to and okay with letting things go. And I think that is such a beautiful part of this is when we're saying, that's the antidote to scarcity mindset is knowing that no matter what, there will always be more. So sure, right? I get this all the time of they're the one person I connected with. There's no one else. And it's right off the bat, that's why the mindset that we're attaching to them. But it's like, okay, so you met them. So that means there are people out there. That means there are feelings that you can have that you haven't felt in a while.
But just the fact alone then that relationship ended, it means that it wasn't meant to be.
No.
You need to have some level of faith in your life to be happy. You need to have some deep understanding and belief that is aligned with everything is happening exactly as it should. I'm exactly where I need to be. I am only attracting what I deserve and what is aligned with my highest self, with my future self. And things that crumble, stop trying to pick up the pieces. What if there's something better around the corner? And you had to go through that hardship to get to that other side. You had to go through that shitty breakup to meet your perfect partner 3 months later. And you wouldn't have met them if you had broken up at a different time because they were, going through something in their life. Like everything does happen for a reason. And the more you believe that, the more peace you'll feel.
Yes.
The more your anxiety will subside. And I feel you, like we were talking off air about anxiety. I've dealt with anxiety a lot in my life, and I still do. Absolutely. And I think a lot of the anxiety I've been feeling the past few weeks about certain, like I'm feeling unstable in certain areas of my life, like what we're moving and everything. And that's caused, more cortisol, and I've gotten some acne because of it. Like it does affect me still. But I will say it used to affect me way more. And the thing that has helped me the most, and I try to tell myself this daily, even with my, current situation, is that everything is falling into place exactly as it should at the exact perfect time. And if I deeply believe that, then my anxiety will swoosh away because anxiety is trying to control.
Yep.
You'll notice if you have anxiety, you're probably quite controlling and perfectionistic. That's coming from me because I am those things as well, and the less, the more that you feel that faith and that knowing that everything is being presented to you at the right time, you're hearing the right things at the right time, you're meeting the right people at the right time, you will be so much happier, your anxiety will go down, and you just need to remember to bounce back when it comes back up. And that's what I tell myself.
I love that. And I resonate so hard with it. Like when I broke up with the guy right before I met Ryan, I would never have met him, right? Like I wouldn't have met my current partner if I hadn't just walked in and been like, I'm done with this. Like, fuck this. I'm not going to hear it convince you. Like, you're not in it. Great. Move on with the next. Because then that way I was ready to make space for someone who was. Because if I came into this of like, but there's no one else. Oh my God, I only had him. It's like, then I wouldn't have seen the forest for the trees because I'm staring so hard at the stump. And it's like, to your point, I always say, stop trying to rebuild a house with ashes, right? Yeah. Like it burned. You're trying to rebuild this structure. You can't. There's nothing left. So let it burn. And then like the phoenix, you can rise from those ashes and then you can create the life you genuinely fucking want. Mimi, I could talk to you for hours. I am so grateful for your time. I'm so grateful for what you've done. Please, if you could share a little bit more of like, where can people find activations? Yeah. I know we have a caveat. If you guys want the 2 free weeks, you got to sign up on the website, not the app store. But in general, where can people find you? How can they work with you? And how can they just get more of you?
Well, first of all, if you guys want to try activations completely for free, we offer a longer free trial. So it's 2 free weeks. And you can also get a huge discount on a yearly membership with Sabrina's link. Make sure to go to the website, like she said, because the App Store doesn't let us do discounts. So it's www.activations.com/Sabrina. And when you go to that website, you can then sign up. You get 2 completely free weeks, and you can see a radical change in your life in 2 weeks. And that's why we wanted to make it a longer free trial, because when you do something every day for 14 days, you can actually start seeing the effects. So do it, commit to it, do it for free. And if you feel different, then you can obviously stay subscribed. But if you don't, then you can unsubscribe and you can get your money back if you forget to cancel. Like it's completely low risk. So go try it out. Go to activations.com/Sabrina. And if you guys want to pre-order my book, it's called Activate Your Future Self. It's with Hay House. It's coming out in April, and I'm sure you can get that on Amazon. And I'm on Instagram at Mimi Bouchard. And we're uploading new activations every week on the app, and we're building an insanely big community on there. So come join the thousands and thousands of other women transforming their lives there.
Oh, I love it. Baby, thank you so much for being on. And guys, thank you for being part of this. Go join activations. I'm going to be doing one when I get home tonight. And it's just so nice to know that, like, I love that you had a pre-date one. Like, what such a fucking brilliant idea.
We have a list of your favorites on our landing page, by the way. So if you go to activations.com/Sabrina, we have a list of we're going to put a list of all your favorites.
Brilliant. You're going to have some walking activations. You're going to have some pre-date activations. You guys are going to have everything that you possibly need. And I am so, so excited. Mimi, thank you again.
Thank you so much, Sabrina.